Welcome to Hidden Pearls, where we're privy to pearls of wisdom from people we know and admire. Today's guest is a world-renowned poet, author, motivational speaker, and co-host of the Rucker Radio Show. Please join me in welcoming Seven. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I want to talk about the Rucker Show, which is amazing, but I want to talk about how people who don't know you, it may seem like you're like an overnight sensation, like you just came out of nowhere. For people who weren't there for the whole struggle, can you tell me a little bit about your journey?
In 2000, I really got back into the city after college, after I graduated from Prairie View. I came home with a couple degrees, trying to chase this American dream. Okay, you went to college, you got the education, now what? I was trying to get into the music industry and it wasn't really working. I found that it was easier for me to talk about nonsense. The streets were not really receptive to that level of intellect and conscious art. I began to speak without the music, and then people began to say, oh, you're a poet. So that was 18 years ago. Here we are today. I assure you out there in TV land that it was not overnight.
Right, because at one point, I remember you were selling your CDs out of your car.
Yeah.
Taking gigs any and everywhere just to be able to spread your art.
Yep. It's been a long road. I kind of hadn't even looked back.
One thing that I appreciate about you is you talk a lot about growing up on the south side of Houston.
I am South Sea affiliate. That's not gang related. I'm just
Right, but you make no qualms about talking about how you came from a kind of an unsavory background.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a strength or a weakness? And can you tell us about that?
I knew we were poor. I was absolutely clear about the fact that we were poor. I just never let it stop me. It didn't matter if they had name brand or, what kind of car their parents drove. I was good without it. I always saw myself as equal. Yeah, it was not a cool background to come from, but it gave me ridiculous survival skills.
So how do you switch gears from, robbing, stealing cars, all this? How do you switch gears from that to a master's degree from Prairie View?
I cannot take credit for that. My friends who did come from solid backgrounds, two-parent homes and things like that, they went off to college and they went to the Navy. And I stayed in the trap. And one day I was at home. A friend of mine by the name of Wynters asked me, was I saved? And I said, I'm not sure. I don't know. He's like, if you don't know, you're not. So that day, I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. And he ended that part by saying, I'll be back in a week. Pack a bag. He pulled up, just like he had promised. We drive to Prairie View A&M University. And I'm thinking that this is just a front for us to talk to chicks.
Okay.
But as it turns out, they were registering me in college.
Those are some really good friends.
Yeah, we're all still friends till this day.
Yeah. When I was a member at Higher Dimension, you came and you did a piece called The 7 Deadly Sins. And that was pretty prolific. I
have no idea. That is one of the toughest pieces I've ever written. Everything's good. The job has happened. The money is there. Credit score is up. Purchasing a home. Things began to unravel. Everything. The house was in foreclosure. I had totaled the vehicle. Everything was unraveling.
Wow.
Lost the job, lost the girl, lost everything. That day, before I delivered the piece, Minister Earl was talking to me. And he said, how are you doing? I said, oh man, God is dragging me through the mud. And he said, well, that's a good thing. I said, how so? He said, God is dragging you. Well, if he's dragging you, at least you know he got his hands on you. And that felt like graduation.
Yeah. Now, you are the co-host of the Rucker Show, which I've listened to the show. You guys have great chemistry. It's a really good show.
Thank you.
How did that come about, and what's that like?
So I come home, and this guy named Al Rucker is chasing me down. Al said, call him. Who was Al? So at this time he was on KCOH. I went to the radio show and did the radio show with him, and he really liked me. I didn't know if he had seen me or how he had heard of me or what. From the radio show, he began to move on and grow and go into other stations, larger markets, and then he brings me back and puts me on a show. I had no idea that he was going to take it to where he has now, and adding the cast and everything is definitely fun.
And y'all are on tour too.
Yes, we are. The Al Rucker Experience is the tour. Recently we did the BET Awards.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what do you have going on right now? Where can we find you?
I am currently on tour with Eddie B, with the Teachers Only tour. We did the Smart Financial.
Okay.
6,300 seats, sold out on a Monday. Nothing but teachers. And
That's awesome.
So right now I'm really trying to push my I Teach brand, which is a part of my repertoire. It's a poem called I Teach. It's the same poem that I presented on Verses and Flow.
Right.
And that's really what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of preparing for transition because the road is tough.
Yeah.
Traveling all the time, every week is tough.
That is so awesome. We have enjoyed having you.
Where
can we find you online?
SE, the number 7, ENTHEPOET, 7 the Poet. You put in 7 the Poet, it'll come up.
Well, we wish you continued success.
Thank you.
And we'll be listening to the Rucker Show every week.